Welcome to the Nitpicking Nerds. Today, Budget Bomb.
Budget Bomb. We're talking about cards that are under $1 that tutor this time.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We're a channel. We talk about budget stuff every now and again, but we're doing high-powered stuff, and we're just helping everybody have more fun playing Commander. Right now, we're talking about tutors you can get for under $1.
Yes. So, Budget Bombs is the name of our series. And Budget Bombs just means the card costs less than $1. It's budget because it's under $1. And it's not just a budget card. A budget bomb because it's super budget.
No, it's super good in a budget deck.
Yes.
That's what the bomb is. Bombs are... Hey, all right, what's the first one? We're going by color. So we're going to talk about the white ones, then the blue ones, then the black ones, and then the green ones, and then the multicolored and colorless ones. There's no red tutors under $1.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's no R in this Wooburg.
It's just Woobug.
Woobug.
That's all right.
So we're going to start with the white ones. It's a lot of these tutor for like legends and stuff and planeswalkers. The first one, Thalia's Lancers. It is a 5-mana 4/4 with first strike, and when it enters, you can search for a legendary card. Pretty cool.
Permanent.
Legendary
permanent. No getting legendary sorceries with this one.
Yeah, so you're going to miss out on like 3 playable cards.
2? Anyway, it gets planeswalkers, it gets legendary lands, legendary creatures. Those are the main things you get. And it's like an okay body. I know body size is more relevant in budget than non-budget.
Exactly. It is much different. Yeah, it blocks really well. I mean, anything with 4 toughness cannot attack you, essentially.
Sounds good to me.
The next ones all get planeswalkers. They're Call the Gatewatch, which gets you 1 planeswalker. Ignite the Beacons, which gets you 2 planeswalkers. And I can never pronounce this guy's name. Juru with eyes opened can get you 1 planeswalker when he enters the battlefield.
His eyes are open, his arms are wide open.
Well,
yeah, perfect. Yeah, these they're okay. They're obviously none of these tutors can be as efficient as Vampiric Tutor or Demonic Tutor. We're on a budget. I think a lot of these do good jobs, and I have some of these in decks that are not budget at all.
Yeah. Just take a look at
not these 4 like this in this list.
Yeah, some of the cards on this list. Just you still want specific pieces in a lot of decks.
Yeah,
and you have to realize that. Okay, tutors are pretty important in a lot of decks. I get some people don't like tutors. If you don't like tutors, this isn't the video for you, obviously. But if you're looking for some budget tutors, hey, these are going to help you. Next, Heliod's Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah.
2 and a white for a 1/2. After the battlefield, you can go get an aura. This can get like Darksteel Mutation, so it'll get you removal, get something to really pump up your creatures. I can't think, there's not super a ton of playable auras, but if you're playing a auras deck or a enchantress type deck, this is going to be extra good.
I think there's splash value. If you happen to play a couple auras, like if you're green-white, you can have a couple auras just in your deck, and you don't have to be focused on it to just have this thing that says, all right, go find a removal spell or find a way to push your creature through combat.
Yeah, then maybe give your guy protection from creatures if you got like a big commander that does a lot of damage.
Yeah, so I mean, there's plenty of good auras that replace themselves. We could almost do a budget bomb auras one.
That's true.
Down the pipeline.
Yeah. Plea for guidance. So this is literally Idyllic Tutor stapled to Idyllic Tutor. So it's 5 and a white to search for 2 enchantments. It's a little pricey. It is a lot for a setup card, which it is a setup card. But ultimately, you're on budget. You don't get to have your Idyllic Tutors because that thing's like $4 or $5 right now. Not quite in the budget. If you're not on a super tight budget, that card's great.
Yeah, that's kind of like the perfect mid-tier. Because it's not Enlightened Tutor. There's like Enlightened Tutor, and then there's Idyllic Tutor, and then there's Plea for Guidance. We're fine with Plea for Guidance right now. It's a 2-for-1, and it's a tutor. You get 2 really good cards. You'll be happy with it.
Yeah, you do have to take a turn off. That's its downside.
Yeah, it's just slow. And now we're moving on to blue. First one up, Mystical Teachings. It's 3 and a blue for an instant. You go search for an instant or a card with flash, put it into your hand, and it's flashback for 5 and a black.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you put this in the blue ones. I know technically it's blue, but its color identity is multicolored. Probably should put that down there.
Yeah, but it's blue. So you're playing lots of instants, you're playing lots of flash creatures, you're playing a tricky deck. This is worth 2 tutors. It can, if it ends up in your graveyard, it's just you draw a card when you cast it, from your graveyard without actually casting the first half.
Yeah, this is an instant, right?
Oh, it's an instant.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was just double checking because this card's really good because if you're like you said, you play a flash deck where you're just playing on other players' turns all the time. This card's gonna be extra good.
Instant speed tutors, 4 mana tutor card is meh, but the fact that you staple instant onto it, I'm a lot more forgiving with the mana cost of instants than sorceries.
Yeah, exactly. Little cycle here. We have Trophy Mage, Tribute Mage, Trinket Mage, Treasure Mage, all like in the 20 to like 80 cents range.
All great.
And all great. They all get different sorts of artifacts. Some get like over 6. Some get...
Can you tell me each one?
No, off the top of my head. I think Trophy Mage gets 3s. Tribute Mage is the one I'm unsure of. Trinket Mage gets 1 or less. And Treasure Mage gets 6 or more.
Yeah, Tribute Mage is 2.
Okay.
Exactly 2.
I knew I was missing 1 in there. But yeah, they're all great. Like if you need any specific piece at those specific mana cost, then you want these in your deck.
I can go get Soul Ring, Relic of Progenitus, Soul Guide Lantern at 1. Worm Coil Engine, Steel Hellkite, whatever. I'm just naming stuff. Tribute Mage, Trophy Mage, they can get Mana Rocks. Or, like, if you're... Key to the City is just what randomly came to my head. There's so many random ones that you could just get, and it's a huge, crucial part of your game plan.
Yeah, exactly. Next, Reshape. This is X blue, sacrifice an artifact, and you search for an artifact with converted mana cost X or less. So
and put it in play, not in your hand.
Yeah, into play, yes. This card's great. It's just very solid, like, turning something on the board. It's going to, basically, it is a demonic tutor for artifacts, but it has a little extra sacrifice on top of it.
It's closer to, like, Green Sun Zenith. You're paying 2 extra for the artifact that goes in play, but there's an upfront cost of sack creature.
Well, I think that for my comparison was more that demonic tutors basically get a spell to play it for 2. You play for 2 more, so basically that's what you're doing. That was my comparison, but
Gotcha.
It both makes sense. What's the next one?
Parallel Thoughts is the weirdest card, and I don't even know if this card's good, but it looks fun, so I put it on here. It's 3 blue for an enchantment. When it enters, you search for 7 cards, so demonic tutor 7 times, and then you shuffle them up face down underneath Parallel Thoughts. And then instead of drawing, you can take one of those cards at random now forever.
Well, you draw from the top of them.
Until they're gone, you basically take the top one, which is just random, so you don't even know what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's super weird. I don't think there's much to talk about that one other than it's weird.
It might be good. I don't know. If your commander can draw cards and you can get reliably draw cards the turn you play this, it seems pretty good. Like if I can 5 mana draw 2 of my best cards.
It also has a strange replacement effect, which is interesting.
It's probably a lot closer to put them on top of your deck. Yeah, put the 7 best cards on top in a random order.
Yeah, but what I was saying that was weird about this card is it basically it is a replacement effect for drawing, so it's strange.
Oh, so they don't get triggers. Like your Consecrated Sphinx won't trigger.
Yeah,
if I do this instead.
Yeah, it's instead of drawing. You
Secret Tech.
Yeah, it's
Nekusar won't trigger. Oh, baby.
Yep, weird. Moving into black now, we have Mausoleum Secrets. Absolutely love this card. 1 and a black for an instant, and you can search your library for a black card with converted mana cost equal to or less than the number of creatures in your graveyard. This card is great.
It's so good. You just need, as soon as you have 3 creatures in your graveyard, this is going to do just fine. And if you're in I have this in a more casual deck that's kind of budget, actually, because I don't really want to buy new cards for it. Mm-hmm. So the budget is really $0. It's the Trade Binder deck. I tutor for like Living Death. And now that I have this giant graveyard, I'm just going to always find the thing I need and just get them all back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this card. If you're mono black, it gets like a huge boost up there. Like now it's just going to be a demonic tutor type card in that kind of deck. Most black decks, I will say, I almost said some. Most black decks are pretty high in creature count.
Yeah, black doesn't have a ton of other draws, and everybody wants to play stupid Grey Merchant of Asphodel.
That card's really good. Next, we have Rezek's Right. This is 3 black for just a normal old tutor. Go get any card out of your deck, put it in your hand. But it has cycling for a black. We've put this in, again, not super budget decks, because if you have a cycling theme, now you just get a card that happens to have cycling on it, and maybe super late game, you're just like, okay, now I'm going to go tutor for my best card.
When the 5 mana tutor doesn't hurt you, it's a tutor. But any other time, it doesn't hurt you by being in your hand. It just cycles away on turn 1 if you're like, oh, I'm not going to quite get there on time. Let's cycle it. Sweet. This card's great.
Yeah, exactly. Next, Coveted Prize. This is the same cost, or not the same cost, same converted mana cost. 4 and a black for a sorcery, and it costs 1 less for each creature in your party, which means it costs 1 less for a cleric, 1 less for a wizard, 1 less for a warrior, and 1 less for a, what did I forget?
Rogue.
A rogue. So if you have all 4 of those, this costs a black mana to cast. And you search your library for any card and put it in your hand. And if your party was full, you can cast the card with converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost.
This card's awesome. Turns out it's just really good. It just came out. It's probably going to get I don't know. Maybe it'll just stay under $1. I can't imagine it going too much further above, like, it's at like 90 cents right now. You're not going to need to build around this. If it's 3 or 4 mana, that's okay. If you have the potential to, maybe you have a couple changelings in your deck, if you have the potential to make this 1 mana, whoo, it's so good.
If they're going to, I will say this, a card like Coveted Prize will continue to get better and better if they're going to go what seems to be what they did with Zendikar, where if something has a race, it also has a class. So if we're going to get races and classes for almost every card, we're not just going to get generic elves.
Yeah.
They're going to have, if they're going to be like, say like Lamar elves won't be just an elf anymore. It'll be an elf.
Druid or something.
Druid, exactly. It'll always be like that. It might already be an elf druid now that I think about it.
Well, whatever.
But you know what I mean. There will never be, if for the rest of Magic, there's not going to be many generic elves. They're always going to have a subclass. That'd be great.
Well, how about they balance cards for standard? This just came out. So now for the next 5 sets, they're keeping this set in mind with party mechanics. There's going to be a bunch more. So there's going to be more and more playables. Your commander might just have one of these, in which case this is always 4 mana.
Yeah, exactly. If you're just have one of these, it's perfect. Oh my God. It's funny because like party is like kind of a parasitic mechanic, but they can make it so it's not.
Totally. And you can just put, like, doesn't matter that none of the party cards actually care too much about you having a full party.
No, the only one that seems to care a lot is Limvala.
Yeah, and that's just a standard card. And next, since you get to like read all these cards, apparently.
Oh, sorry.
Corpse Connoisseur is 4 and a black for 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you search for a creature card and put it right in your graveyard. And then it has Unearth for 3 and a black, which means it comes back with haste. So you get to tutor again into the graveyard, and then it'll go to the exile zone.
I mean, this next one's just worth mentioning with it because it's very similar.
Oh, yeah. I'll read it, though, because he read every card before us pretty much.
Go ahead.
Gravebreaker Lamia, 4 and a black for a 4/4 enchantment creature with lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, you search for a creature card, put it in your graveyard, but creature spells in your graveyard cost 1 less to cast. Actually, I think it's spells in your graveyard cost 1 less to cast.
Yeah, it is. Spells in your graveyard cost 1 less to cast. So you're just putting stuff... Yeah, I know. I slurred my words real bad.
Are you drunk?
Yeah, I am not drunk. I have had no alcohol. You can test me right now. Test me.
No.
Okay. These cards are both really good. They're in tomb effects, which means you search and put them directly into your graveyard. But in the decks that want them, they're going to be much better than just like putting a card in a useless zone. No, you're putting a card that you're going to get back, you're going to cast, you're going to do something with. Gravebreaker Lamia was literally designed to get creatures with...
Escape.
Escape, yeah, exactly. And so you can just go get something with Escape.
How good are these with Mausoleum Secrets? They just go in the same deck, right? You're adding to your undergrowth count.
Yeah.
And that's a card you want in there, and then you're like, okay, go find another card I want. Maybe the card that brings this out of the graveyard.
Oh, so nice.
You can put cards with Dredge in there, and then just dredge 5 more cards next time you draw, like Stinkweed Imp.
Next one, I'm going to tell you a little combo with it that I just thought of that's really silly.
Okay.
It's Wishclaw Talisman, which, why don't you read it? Because you want to read more cards.
Well, yeah, let me read this one before you try to read it. 1 and a black for an artifact. It is 1, tap, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, and then when an opponent gains control, but it starts with 3 wish counters, and you got to remove 1 each time. So there's no guarantee you get it back, but you get the first one.
Ready for my 3-card
Oh, God.
combo? It's pretty cool. So Wishclaw Talisman. Karn, the one that animates into creatures.
Okay.
Plus, do it to make it into a creature.
Mm-hmm.
Tap it, give it to your opponent, activate your homeward path.
Homeward Path. Wow. No, even better. They don't see it coming. You tutor for Homeward Path.
It's kind of silly, but I like that's the kind of thing that makes EDH great. Like how you're never gonna be mad about that.
You just got completely messed with.
It doesn't do anything. It's not even that good. But it's just funny.
I'm like paying a mana cost for a reaction at that point. Like, what?
I mean, if you have 2 of the pieces, then it's just free because then you just go get the 3rd piece to do it. It's
Wow.
like why would
this
you?
is broken.
Why would you not do it?
Why would you not mess with your opponents? That card's not going to stick around until next turn, though, I don't think. Also, you could just tutor for Karn. They can't activate it. They already, like... I like how you just picked the other ability on it. They already can't activate it with Karn. Jeez.
Even better.
You tutor for Ashiok, so then they can't tutor.
Why don't... Okay, we're good. Okay, next, we're going into land tutors.
Green tutors.
Well,
which are mostly land tutors.
oh, well, the one's not green. That one's not green.
It basically is. I lumped it in.
But it's not green. The reason that card's good is because it's not green.
Yeah, but it's in the green section, so deal with it. Crop rotation is the first one. It is green. It costs green for an instant. Additional cost to cast it. Sacrifice land. Search for any land, and then it just boom, goes into play. This card's ridiculous.
If you have lands that ETB, this is great for getting Bajuka Bog type effects. I don't know if you really want to be, if you're on a budget, something like Sajiri Step.
Yeah, give your creature protection from something. That's not too bad. There are budget lands that add more than 1 mana. Like if you splurge on a Nykthos and you want to take advantage of it in a budget deck, usually there's not a lot of ways to tutor for stuff, but like the land tutors are actually pretty cheap if you didn't know. So crop rotation's amazing.
Yeah, next one for green, Sylvan Scrying is 1 in the green for a sorcery, and you just search for a land to put in your hand. Great card. It's just solid. Again, same thing as it's just all the same text as crop rotation, but it's not an instant now. Now you just and it's going to your hand.
It's worse, but it's still playable.
It's still very playable.
It's like a cantrip, but you found your best land.
Yeah, to be fair, like in a budget deck, this is an easy command tower. If you're playing 3 colors and you're on a budget, your mana base tends to suffer a lot in that case. Sylvan Scrying can just help you.
Yeah, don't forget it. It's fixing. Find the triome that you opened in your pack. Now you've got 2 triomes in your deck, and your deck just fixes better.
Yeah, it's awesome. Triomes are great.
I love this next card. Nylia's Intervention is X green for a sorcery. You choose 1. Either you search for X land cards and put them in your hand, so it's Sylvan Scrying with X on it, or you deal twice X damage to each creature with flying. So we can also just deal with token swarms or some big dumb angel threat that you happen to face.
Yeah, well, that's like the gravy side. This is this gets you card advantage very easily. All it takes is 4 mana, and you've already gotten card advantage. Yeah, they're only lands, but if you're playing a deck where lands matter, if you're playing something like a Tireless Tracker or anything that's going to draw off a land, Horn of Greed, stuff like that, then this gets a ton of value because lands aren't just lands for your deck. They're also a huge functioning part that makes you work.
Oh, you got Walking Atlas or the Root Grazer from Zendikar Rising. You can put extra lands in play. You have a Azusa in play. Now you just got like 6. You just play them all.
Yeah, it's
really, really good card.
It is extremely good. More green stuff. It looks like.
Yeah, this is non-land green tutors.
Yeah, non-land green tutors. It's a weird separation there. This is Fierce Empath. This is 200 green. Actually, it was just reprinted on 21, so it's extremely cheap right now.
Dirt cheap.
And when it enters the battlefield, you search for a creature with converted mana cost 6 or greater. This can get this is like get your win condition for 3 mana.
Yeah, go find your win condition or your way to draw a bunch of cards so that you win next turn or something. Like this is a huge setup. It's enter the battlefield. Like all of these Thalia's Lancers, all the mages, this thing like enters the battlefield. You can blink them and reanimate them and just keep tutoring.
Yeah, and you can keep doing the same thing over and over again. This is like I said, you get your crit hoofs and your end raise forerunners if you're on a budget, which we're talking about budget. So get your end raise forerunners and just end the game. That's going to happen a lot when you're playing a great card like this.
That was in our budget win cons. Like end raise forerunners is fine.
It's just a totally reasonable card. It's just nothing scales like Kratos, so it's like it's tough when you compare them side by side. But if you just put Kratos under the table and say, well, that's not even a card in my idea, then Admiral's Foreigners is great.
Yeah, it's 17 power for 8 mana, and you just kill somebody.
Yeah, good card. Good card.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
Since I get to read.
Okay,
cards
I'm
also,
sorry.
It's Moonvoooli Beast Tracker. It's 1 green for a 2/1 creature, and we're not going to edit the video at all. So just hang tight while we don't edit, because I know this card by heart. It, of course, searches for a creature card with Death Touch, Hexproof, or Reach, or Trample, and reveal it, and then put that card on top.
Glad you chose to read that one.
Yeah, I chose to read that one. I knew all 4. It's Death Touch, Reach, Trample, and Hexproof. This actually also searches for End-Raise Forerunners, right? Does it have Trample?
I think it does, yeah.
Well, now I don't know. Does it have Trample? It does, right? Yeah, this also searches for End-Raise Forerunners. So this obviously depends on what your deck is.
It puts it on top. I mean, if you're playing a deck like Catherall where you care about keywords a ton, this card's really, really awesome because you already care about keywords. Now it's like if I can put my best draw on top, maybe even like, again, with Catherall, if you can like dredge it into the graveyard, it's like maybe you just want it in the graveyard because you're playing Catherall. It's cool.
Put it on top, then dredge a Stinkweed up, and you're just like, okay, great. Now my Zatalpa or something is in the graveyard.
Zatalpa.
I think Zatalpa has Trample. I think it does have one of those abilities. It's so hard to keep track of that stuff. But yeah, Beast Tracker's all right. Just make sure you're in the right deck for it. Uncage the Menagerie is next. It's X green. So you search your library for X creature cards with the same mana cost. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So it's 1 green, search for 1 drop, 2 green, search for 2 drops, 3 green, search for 3 drops, etc. It starts to be card advantage once you get past 2.
I mean, it's card advantage almost right away. It's really easy to make.
Yeah,
as long as you're not getting a 1/1, which you're almost never casting that card for 1 because that's not very good.
Yeah, I don't know what you need.
Yeah, if you need a mana elf really bad, I guess.
Ooh, if you play it for 0, you can search for no Dryad Arbors. That's pretty good.
Okay. Next, I really like this next one a lot. I think this is a card that is, if you're not even on a budget, it can be good because
It breaks through.
If you're in the right deck, it is a strong card. It gives you card advantage. It's Mythos of Broncos, and it is 2 green for a sorcery, and you can turn 2 cards from your graveyard to your hand.
Permanents, right?
2 permanents. But there's something you do before that. If you spent a black and a blue in those 2 generic mana spots, you get to entomb. You get to go into your deck, put a card into your graveyard, and then return. So that is literally going to be a demonic tutor, or it's going to be a diabolic tutor that also gets you a card back from your graveyard. And that card sounds pretty dang good to me.
So it's demonic tutor plus regrowth. How about that? That's way clickbaitier.
Yeah, and that card is actually legitimately very strong in the right deck. I would play this in, like, I'm talking about 7, 8, in almost maybe going into 9 power level. Like, that card is that good. I think the card is very good.
We could probably classify ourselves as high power EDH. We're not CEDH. We don't play CEDH, but we play high power EDH, right?
Yeah, and I would play this in the high power deck. Like, if I built a deck that was Sultai, I might just put this card in.
Depends. Obviously, it depends on the deck. None of these tutors are just go find the best card in your deck always, because they cost less than $1. But a lot of them are pretty darn close. Next is a little package. We're not going to read them, but Dimir Infiltrator, Muddle the Mixture, Dimir Houseguard, and Netherborn Phalanx are pretty much 4 of the best cards with Transmute, which is 1 blue or 1 black or 1 blue discards. Always 3 mana to discard, and then you search for a card with the same mana cost at sorcery speed.
Yeah, they're just these. This is a really quick, easy thing to go over because these are just if you have key pieces at that mana cost, these cards obviously fit into your deck pretty well.
But they're split cards. So, like, you play... I might want Muddle the Mixture because it's a counterspell for instant sorceries. I might want a sack outlet. Dimir Houseguard is a sack outlet, but also sometimes it's your best 4-drop.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair. Muddle the Mixture is a weird counterspell. Infiltrator is like a weird unblockable creature, right?
Yeah, and the Netherborn Phalanx makes them lose life equal to the number of creatures you have, so that might be a weird finisher you could pull off.
Sure. Moving into multicolored, we have Gerard's Orders. I like this card a lot. It's actually really cool. It's 2 green and for a sorcery, and you search your library for 2 creatures, put 1 in your graveyard, put 1 in your hand. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, you put your dredge creature to fill your game plan, or a creature with Unearth or Flashback or Embalm or Eternalize or whatever nonsense you're cooking up, and then 1 creature that you want to cast.
Yeah. I like Gerard's Orders is great. Like you said, if a lot of these cards go in this green black deck that we've built.
Yeah, there's some deck that just plays like half these cards. Yeah. Mausoleum Secrets, Lamia, this thing.
Yeah, you can play a lot of them.
All the green land tutors.
It turns out there's a lot of ways to tutor into your graveyard, which is actually really strong.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason that Entomb is like $20.
Right, because half the time, tutoring your hand is a deficit. It's bad if you want to reanimate it. So the graveyard cuts out the middleman.
Yeah, it's so good. Next, Neoform, green and a blue, and as an additional cost to cast, you sacrifice a creature, and you can get a creature with +1 converted mana cost.
Into play. Gotta say where these things are going.
I'm sorry. Into play.
Yeah, this is only if you have a specific creature that your deck's built around, where you like really want this thing. I think it enters with a counter too.
Oh yeah, it does. That doesn't matter though. But
well,
yes,
it does if you like. You can sack a 1-drop, search for Incubation Druid. That's pretty cool.
Sure, I guess you could also, if you have Chaos, you could go get like Walking Ballista in certain cases to make it work.
In our budget deck.
And after for the counter, just...
That's my budget win, Kyle. Chaos.
Shut up.
Chaos Ballista.
Shut up. Chaos Ballista suck outlet. That's how I win in my budget deck.
You thought I was playing Neoform, but I'm going to turn my Thalia's Lancers into a Micaeus. All right, Sphinx Summoners next. Is 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer artifact creature, and it enters the battlefield. Search for an artifact creature. Simple.
And like we're willing to pay more for creatures because these are abusable with flicker effects, reanimate effects, tons of things like that where you can just go tutor again, and that's what makes ETB so good. It's like 5 mana get an artifact you're not good. 5 mana on a 3/3 body that gets you an artifact much better.
Yeah, what if you're getting an artifact that's going to blink this thing over and over, or like we don't have Diabolic Tutor on here. It's just 4 mana tutor. Like Razaketh's Second Right is unique because it has cycling. It's never going to rot in your hand like some of these, like bad tutors that we don't have on here. Mm-hmm. This is pretty much an extensive list of like all the best budget tutors. I don't think we really left anything off.
Ooh, but I'm excited about this next one. This next one's really cool. It is Emergent Ultimatum. Black, green, blue for
sorcery.
For a sorcery, and you search for 3 cards, any 3 cards in your deck.
No. You search for 3 different monocolor cards in your deck.
Oh my god.
And then your opponent, somebody, chooses 2 of them, and you cast them for free.
There are definitely ways to make this so you basically win.
Yeah, I had somebody like own me in, I think it was Standard or something, maybe Historic, on Arena, where you could do this in Commander. They were like, all right, Plane-Wide Celebration, Liliana, Dreadhorde General, and Omniscience. And I'm like, because it was just this weird spot where they either going to Ultimate Lily, and I lose, or they have Omniscience in play, and they get 4 permanents back.
Yeah, and you can do better versions of that in EDH. There's definitely just better versions of that to do.
On a budget. So there's budget versions too.
Yeah, I mean, there's even on a budget. I can't think of any right now. But if I sit down, there's got to be like only spending I would say probably spending $5. I could probably come up with piles that win the game. Or come very close.
Go find Praetorgan Drake, Eldrazi Displacer, and Fierce Empath, or like something that tutors up one of there's so many different ones, or Deadeye Navigator and Fierce Empath. So like you're either going to tutor for it or just have it in play and then make infinite mana. There's a bunch of ways.
Yeah, exactly. And so last one is just an artifact one. It's called Drotha Forge Master. It's a 3/5 for 5 mana, and you can tap it and sacrifice 3 artifacts to search for any artifact into play, and that goes directly into play. So you can just get like something that costs like 12 mana.
Just get your biggest. Mere Battlesphere comes to mind as like a solid budget one, or Spine of Ishsa's pretty good because then next time when you sacrifice it, it just goes back to your hand anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it's an instant speed, and sacrificing artifacts can be good for you, so it could be upside: upside.
It could. But that's our tutors. And then something I wanted to mention right quick at the end here is that not every effect in Magic you can get cheaper, and it's just typically going to cost you more mana. But by that I mean if you're going to be spending under $1, it's typically just going to be the same effect, but it's going to cost you a little more, and that's okay because that's what budget does sometimes. It's going to slow down your deck. That same thing happens in the land slots where it's like, well, I can't afford fetches and shocks, so I have to go with tap lands, and it just slows the deck down. Decks tend to get slower on a budget, and that's totally reasonable. Just you still want the same core values in a budget deck that you want in your high-powered deck.
Yep, still want my best cards. I still have ways to find my best cards. Budget bombs, we've almost covered everything you could, want for an EDH deck at this point. And we'll probably do, this is like kind of like the new age budget bombs in my head. That's what I've been calling them. And maybe when we do 2 more, then we'll build another budget bomb deck, and then we can kind of we have 2 full decks we built on a complete budget, like totally knock it out of the park every time.
Budget bomb.
Budget bomb. We haven't done that all episode. Wow.
We did do it once.
We did at the beginning. Yeah. It was kind of weak though.
Yeah,
whatever. Anyway, we're done with the video. We got patrons. I'm going to say it this time because Joe read too many cards in the beginning.
Special shout outs to all of our patrons.
Yeah, I was going to not say that.
That's part of the shtick.
I never even liked it, to be honest.
I don't get out of here then.
It's just a little long.
If you don't like what I do, leave.
All right. So you guys are the best on patreon.com. We love you guys. You're the poopy babies. You make the channel possible. And there's also a couple other ways you can support us, but I guess Joe has to tell you those.
Oh, wow, this is so strange. Yeah, there's a link in the description below. It takes you to tcgplayer.com. It'll probably link you to a list of all these awesome cards that we put here that you can tutor with. You can buy those. You can buy anything on there. You can buy a Funko Pop. I don't know. Maybe even a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Wow. You can buy anything. No matter what you buy, if you use that link to get there, you'll be supporting this channel, and that is awesome. What's the other one?
Yeah, well, we also have merch.
Yeah. We have merch. So these Nitpicking Nerd shirts are available to you and in higher quality than what we have currently, and we ordered the new ones.
We got the beta shirts.
And there's going to be alpha shirts coming out.
Yeah, totally. And if you want to catch Joe and sometimes never me stream, you can do it on Twitch, 10 a.m. to whenever on weekdays, Eastern Standard Time.
A beta comes after an alpha. I'm sorry. I'm stupid.
Yeah. You're dumb. Is that how you want to end this video? No, we got to do a tidbit.
Yes, tidbit about our lives. I do want to say one thing quick again.
Oh.
Today I received my Tiny Bones from our fan. He goes by a couple names, Mono Green Monster and Crazy Bald Man.
Crazy Bald Man, yep.
Thank you for sending me the Tiny Bones. You did not have to do that, and I seriously appreciate it. It's going right in my Croxa deck.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it'll terrorize everyone for years to come.
Yes. And do you have anything you want to add to that?
Oh, tidbit. I'm just trying to think of maybe if I say it in a tidbit, you'll actually do it. We have more pictures to frame.
Oh no.
that go in the background, and they're supposed like that wall's just been naked. We have stuff to cover the whole thing, but Joe does not got them framed.
It's not my fault. It's Beezy's fault.
They're just sitting in Joe's room,
I'm gonna bring him to Beezy so he can't yell at me anymore.
and then I'll put it off for 2 months.
If I brought it to you and you put it off for 2 months, then I would feel better, because then I wouldn't. Then we would have equally.
Yeah, you can't bring it to me because then I'll do it immediately, and you'll just feel bad. You have to just do it.
That's fair. I would feel bad.
Let us know. Take a guess at what we're gonna hang up on that wall. I guess that's your mission in the comments. Take a guess.
What a mission! All right, peace out, Tribe Scout.